everyone! This is Remleiz from 40k Theories, and welcome to this new episode of Adeptus Podcastus. Joining me as always is Tactica Imperialis.
Hello everyone, sorry about the absence last time.
It's alright, dealing with a baby's a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
And joining us as our guest this week, making their Podcastus debut, it's PancreasNoWork, or Pank for short.
I am honored to be here, Chief. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So, for those
just
listening
before sorry, you're going to do this. You're going to do the let's introduce the guest thing, aren't you, rather than rush into the news, aren't you? Because we normally forget.
Yes. So for those listening who may not be aware of your work, would you like to give a bit of an explanation of what you do?
I'd be happy to. I do a Warhammer channel. I try and do a tabletop lore, and then every now and then I get a little bit bored and go, I think we're talking about Halo today. Whatever the latest thing that grabs me. Try and throw in some battle tech, some stuff like that. But Warhammer for the most part. Fantasy, AOS, 40k. I like all the Warhammers. That's
thank God, someone other than me who actually likes Age of Sigmar.
I will champion Age of Sigmar. I have some opinions about it that would probably get me yelled at by quite a few people.
Yeah, there's nothing new. Welcome to being me. It's normal.
I'll stop liking it so much when their model designers stop cooking.
Yeah, as much as I enjoy 40k, and I've not actually played AOS 4 yet, my God, the model team in Age of Sigmar is just on something, and can I have it, please? Because they are too good at their jobs.
I don't think they've missed yet.
Ooh,
maybe
that's
the Fire Slayers. That was.
I was going to say that's a really bold statement.
I think Fire Slayers exist.
What would be the big? I'm trying to think. I think the Cruel Boys were a miss, but that's just 'cause I don't like Tolkien orcs.
That's fair.
With the baby legs.
They do have remarkably noticeable chicken legs.
But speaking of also really good models, in the news this week there's a whole bunch of new Necromunda stuff.
Yes, Happy Dance Remleiz Day.
Yes. I love Necromunda. Necromunda always puts out really good shit. So let's talk about the first model on the list, which is a brand new model for an existing character. Lady Helmore is getting a new model, which looks absolutely awesome. You remember her last time when she was wearing the big ballroom dress? Now she's wearing the equivalent of a Paragon warsuit.
Yeah, it's a Spyro rig, isn't it?
Yep, that's right. And it looks awesome.
I don't... correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't like the way it's been painted. Maybe that's the Necromundan... Yeah. I don't know, the Necromundan style is always really, grubby and a bit different to the standard way they paint 40k miniatures. But that green suit, it's so shiny and her face is so washed out. You could tell me that was a different person to the lady in the dress. And I'm sure she is, pretty much completely changed because, she almost died by the sounds of it. Mm-hmm. So it's not surprising, but also they're barely the same person, minus the fact that it's a woman with two swords.
I can see where you're coming from.
She kind of looks like she's got the butcher's nails in her head. That was the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, it seems to be like some kind of neurological circuitry to help her interface with the suit better.
It is. I think I agree. That is a lovely model, but it's what am I trying to say? Hang on, it's right at the tip of my tongue. The thought is forming. It's trying to get out.
While you cook, it's actually worth noting that this rig is a Scythenian pattern rig, which actually does have a form of, not butcher's nails exactly, but it has got neuroneedle implants, which gives her reflex enhancers and an ability called Master of the Hunt, as well as armor saves and things like that. So it actually does properly interface. But it's also, she's got a rivalry with her family, who are the other Spyros, so she becomes reckless when around everybody else. So it's kind of interesting how she fits in and they're playing with the narrative as well. So good stuff. Anyway, I'll let you finish cooking.
I think I got it. It's the claws at the end. It reminds me of a warp spider Exarch. I don't with the way she's got the blades, but also the guns coming out of the back. That's not a criticism. It's a lovely model. but it doesn't. I think it doesn't look too much like the old one. But both of these models are phenomenal. Necromunda is one of 40K's like highlight models, at least in my opinion. Like everything out of there looks pretty damn good.
I agree, and I think if we weren't comparing it to the old Lady Helmor model, which is hilarious and amazing, I don't think we'd have half as critical an eye on it. It's just a really niche cool way of doing a Spyro suit. But that old Helmor model was so good that the bar is up there. I don't know.
Well, sticking with Necromunda briefly, we also got another hired gun. The Hemorphage Magus has finally gotten a model after 3 years, and he looks awesome.
Right. English, please.
Basically, he was a tech priest who smuggled a Gene Stealer to Necromunda, started doing experiments on it. Gene Stealer got loose. He ended up dying, but the brood mine started bringing him back, essentially.
This is in the best possible sense of the word. This model is horrific, and that's a compliment.
Yes, it is a compliment.
Oh yeah.
There's so much happening here that looks gross and grimy, but as it should. Like this looks like a nightmare someone would have in 40K, like about Tech Priest or something. Like
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also a really cool thing we've never seen before, which is Gene Stealer cults crossed with Admech. Now, I know the mouse strain of the Gene Stealer is completely different because of everything that's gone on in Necromunda, but the Gene Stealer cult, we know, infiltrates human society and affects it and causes people to mutate and transform to hybrids, and you get the idea. But we've never seen that sort of flesh craft blended with Admech mechanical enhancements before. So I don't know if you've read Adrian Tchaikovsky's Day of Ascension. That's a Gene Stealer cult uprising on a Forge world. And they talk about people who've got like metallic limbs and all of that, but also you've got Skitarii and you've got Gene Stealer cultists with their third arm or bald heads or whatever. So that fusion of ultimate biological evolution and the flesh is weak, long live the machine god together, it's proper Cthulhu nightmare stuff.
And it also works as a really good basis if you want to use it as a stand-in for Dark Mechanicum in any way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just have to change the Gene Stealer head.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do a Lost in a Damned Army, use that and use Imperial Guard rules, use that as your engine seer.
Oh yeah, that's a phenomenal way to use that fella.
And also, this model is one of the rare cases where the model is actually better than its official artwork.
Oh yeah,
that's high praise.
Yeah. That's a rare accomplishment, so whoever sculpted that, well done.
Mechanicus is pretty good with that, I feel. Like Call's model and his artwork were pretty much the same thing. Like Mechanicus, out of all the factions, been pretty good at matching its artwork.
And to be fair, the Mechanicus range is really good.
Oh yeah. Or I guess Mechanicus adjacent in this case.
True. But yes, very cool mini, and I just as I just said then, I think we were talking about Age of Sigmar and how the designers absolutely are nailing it and don't miss. But I think about 40K's model ranges, and one of the ranges I've always wanted to collect and play, even though I know I probably never will, is Admech. The whole model range, particularly the Skitarii side of things. Maybe not so much the Electro Priest, but the whole Mechanicus range is just really, 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 really good and consistent. I've always liked Admech in the way they look and how they, well, maybe not how they play, but certainly how they look.
Yeah.
They were, when I was first getting into 40K, Warhammer in general, they were definitely one of the ones I was leading towards, but I would look at stuff like Call and then I'd get scared. Where do I even start with this, with that abomination of a model? It's there is so much going on, and not as a criticism as, it's a bad model. It's gorgeous, but more it's where does the brush even start? What do I start painting? How do I even put that together?
There's a pupil at our school, Warhammer Club, who has a Call and has built it fully. I don't know if they've done sub-assemblies or anything like that and can take it back apart, but they built it fully. And there's a part of me that goes, you are doomed.
Godspeed, soldier.
Doomed. The Skitarii, though, are so simple and so cool. And it's the one thing the 40K ranges struggle with is that balance of basic soldiery versus bedecked elites. Like, look at Chaos Space Marines. I'm sorry, but the basic Chaos Space Marine is way too over-designed and way too busy with all the filigree and details. And genuinely, like, it must be nightmare fuel for Chaos Space Marine players who have even the slightest of unsteady hands. But then you've got cards like Guard, who don't really bedeck their ultimate units, with the possible exception of Lord Solar Leontis. And then Admech just sort of strikes the balance, where the basic infantry are dime a dozen, but individual-ish enough, although there's a reason why they're not. And then their elites look really unique and cool, and even the Space Marines can't say that.
Oh yeah, Space Marine elites, with the exception of Primarchs. It's a time it's like this. This sure is another dude in armor. I cannot deny that. But yeah, this is Mechanicus strikes that balance wonderfully. Of course, you know, like you get up there and it starts becoming more and more frightening to begin painting that. Again, this Necromunda model is maybe it's just because like that mixing and there's a little tank at the top right is maybe I'm thinking that is going to be harder than it looks, but this looks like it'd be an enjoyable paint job, but one I would be very happy when I'm done. Be like, I've come over the hurdle.
Yeah, I think the main appeal of a model like that, sorry, Ram, I didn't mean to cut you off there, is it's very closed. And I don't mean that as an insult. Like, the problem with a lot of models with robes, and particularly worn down robes like this, is they end up having a huge amount of under detail that you've got to then somehow paint. Like the flesh, the cablings, underneath the belly. Like, I was working on a stupid in comparison. I was working on a Crute Shaper today, and they've got like torn up clothes and bits hanging down and bits underneath. It's like, oh God, I've got to get my brush under there to get all those bits. And Belisarius Core would be the worst for that. But this model, the robes cover most of that, and like between his legs and round the sides aren't that exposed. So if you just left the Gene Stealer off and maybe left the Mechadendrites off, that would actually be a pretty easy paint in terms of getting your brush into places, I would think.
And sticking with Admech, or rather Mechanicum, the next Horus Heresy campaign book, The Martian Civil War. Yes, please.
Oh, yes.
I am hyped for this one. Schism of Mars, yes,
Schism
please.
Of Mars.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, the Schism of Mars is just a part of Heresy lore that is just there. And obviously there's, what's it called? I want to call it Titan Death, but it's not called Titan Death. The Heresy novel, is it Titanicus? Oh, what's it called? The Graham McNeil one about the Schism of Mars. I literally remember
Let's see what Google has for us.
Oh, I think I know which one you mean.
Is it just called Mechanicum by chance? No, that's the
ninth
book.
It was like
that's way
novella.
too early.
It was a novella.
No, it was a full novel. There was a full novel. I remember it's got Warlord Titans on the front cover. Oh, it is Mechanicum. It was just Mechanicum. Sorry.
Oh, was it? Oh. I was thinking of the other one, the one that's got like the Tech Marines fighting Skitari on it.
What?
I'm not sure which one that is.
Hang on 1 second, I'll get it. Let's see if...
Does this one look familiar?
Yeah, that's the artwork for Titan Death, which is Battle of Beta Garmin.
Beta Garmin was Titan Death, sorry.
Yeah. Where is the... Cybernetica, that's the one I'm thinking of.
But yeah, I remember Mechanicum coming out, because it was just after I got into Warhammer, so 2008, and that's why I remember it.
Nice.
But yes, the Schism of Mars, as someone who kind of enjoys the concept of Admech and the models that go with them, this is right up my alley. If I were going to get into Heresy again, this is the kind of campaign I'd want to be playing. And actually, you know what? We might actually get some dark Mechanicum lore.
I hope so. I want some more Vorax stuff, though, because Vorax are my favourite automata.
Yes, any long-time 40k Theories viewer will be very much aware of unleashing the Vorax.
Yep.
That Dark Mechanicum stuff was just so interesting. I wish they would do so much more with it. I feel it's such just a missed swing with the Horus Heresy. Just the Mechanicum is a footnote. Like, what do you mean the Mechanicum is a footnote? They're the most important thing in the Imperium, arguably. What do you mean? You get 2 books.
They're not even in the Imperium if you're being a technical nerd about it.
Yeah, that's right. At that point, not the...
At that point, they're just an allied empire. I think you could also make a point there in regards to the Imperial Army. They're also a footnote.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of Horus Heresy, though, Neve, I trust that you're going to get your Magnus the Red action figure.
That depends on if you can find me £200 to get it, because they're stupidly expensive, if I recall.
Oh, I did not know they were that much.
They're not. I'm catastrophizing, but let me just check how much Horus is. 2 seconds.
But yes.
What? What?
What?
I've literally. It's because my internet browser's got my work account signed in on it. It wouldn't let me search it for a second. Hold on. 2 seconds.
Oh,
2 seconds. 2 seconds. He's 140 fucking pounds.
Wait, really?
Yes, Magnus
Sons
the
Joytoy
Red.
directly.
No, this is on Warhammer merchandise store. Magnus the Red is 140 fucking pounds on pre-order with an exclusive T-shirt.
I think he's cheaper in the US than, surprisingly. At least I'm on the joytoyfigure.com website.
Lehman Russ is also 140 pounds, so it's definitely, that's just the going rate for Primarchs.
The actual Demon Primarch model is cheaper.
Well, if you don't want to get a Primarch toy, you can always get Ahriman or Magister Amon.
They're also 70 pounds.
Yeah, you can buy 2 of them for the price of 1 Magnus. There you go, bargain.
Well,
You also have to paint them, don't you?
No.
Oh, so
yeah,
that's
no, I think
McFarlane.
they-
Sorry, that's McFarlane. Sorry, wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah, the Joy Toys are pre-painted, pre-decoed.
So, yes, if I had a Patreon, then I would probably set a Patreon donation goal of get a Magnus, but I'm not doing that. Oh, Jesus Christ.
And in addition to these 3, there's also a Scarab Occult Terminator.
Praetor.
oh, that
Or
looks
Praetor.
good.
Close enough. It's in Terminator armor, so I was close.
Yeah, it is cool. Don't get me wrong. It's very cool.
Am I alone in thinking that the Joy Toy looks better than the actual Horus Heresy Magnus model?
I own that Horus Heresy Magnus model. No. I did not spend that many hours painting all that in gold with 5 fucking layers, which is more than I've ever done before.
Only because you don't prime your models.
No, I
you don't
fucking
prime?
primed it. I primed it. On Magnus, I actually fucking primed it because it was resin.
Fucking hell.
That tells you how much I wanted my Magnus to look good. I primed the whole thing, 4 layers of red, 5 layers of gold, white done to the hilt. Genuinely, give me 2 seconds. I'll put it in the Discord because I've never got rid of the original. It's the first photo in my camera roll that I've saved all these years of my Magnus. Give me 2 seconds. I'm literally just going to put it in the Discord because I genuinely spent hours.
I'm the only person who finds it really easy to paint gold. I just 1 layer, a bit of brown ink wash. There you go, jobs are good.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
normally,
about the level I'm at.
I'm the same. Retributor armor, Agrax Earthshade, done. Or
My
Caribou
beloved.
Crimson, actually. Red wash on gold goes hard, by the way. But no, on Magnus, I was like, he's about 70% gold. I'm going to make an effort. So I did. And I did the same with the
Highlighting
flesh.
with silver or anything like that?
Not that. I don't think I went as far as highlighting with silver, but I did that back. I managed to do it back in 20. That was 2000, and I was still at home. That would have been 2015 or so that I did that. So
Nearly a decade ago.
and he's still sat at home, sat in my shed. The Blade of Arnanerta is broken, but he's sat in my shed, pride-ish of place, because I refuse. It's the one heresy model that I do not regret buying because it's so freaking cool.
That's fair.
That is a good. That is a nice paint job too. Saying 2015 also aged me 20 years. I was in high school then. Oh my god.
I was just gone to university, so trust me, I'm the same. I sympathise.
Was that when you were living in France?
No, this was before. This is pre-France.
Ah, fair enough.
Yeah, France was 2017-18.
Right. But yeah, also, there seems to be hints that the next Crusade book will be Chalnath.
Yes, right. I want to mention this because I actually opened up Warhammer Community and read through this whole thing. One, it's got Tau in it, so good.
Fair.
Because Chalnath, if I'm remembering correctly, the Chalnath Expanse is out ways of Fifth Sphere of Expansion, right?
It's an Imperium Nihilus Ultima Segmentum.
I know that name.
It's
where the Pathfinders and Sisters Battle Kill team came from.
Ah, right.
That's where it comes from. That's the name.
I think the Tau were involved with the 4th and 5th Sphere expansions too.
There's also Psychic Awakening. Greater Good.
Yeah,
it was Imperium, Tau, Orcs, and Gene Stealers.
That of Psychic Awakening, the narrative event everyone forgets happened.
Oh, yeah. Don't.
They made such a big deal about it. It's like, Psychic Awakening is a huge thing where nothing of consequence happened.
It was such a complete nothing. Not even bad. Like, if it was bad, it would be like, all right, at least I'm feeling an emotion.
Oh, it is in the 5th sphere. It is in the 5th sphere.
I mean, look on the bright side, though. It got us a new Shadow Sun model.
Yeah, they got us a new Shadow Sun model. Rules for the 8 that lasted 5 fucking minutes, and they haven't brought them back. Fucking boo, as a Farsight Enclaves stan. And beyond that, what else did it do? The God of the Greater Good showed up.
Yep.
That's where the whole God of the Greater Good lore actually comes in, and the power of faith comes in for the Tau.
Oh, yeah.
But remember, the God of the Greater Good first appeared in 2018. It was that long ago now.
It was a fucking footnote.
It was a footnote, and then she played a bigger part in the Shadow Sun novel. If you want to learn more, check out my recent video.
Yeah, one day, maybe, there will be a rant. I don't know. I think they need to be very careful about how they handle Tauva, because if they get that wrong and turn the Tau into just another bunch of religious fucking zealots, then I am going to have a very stern word with James.
How long before we get the Horus Heresy?
Oh, don't even say that. Don't put that evil into the world.
Don't. Just don't.
I wasn't even into 40k at the time, and I missed when the Tau were just good. Please.
Like, I've no issue with the Tau being shades of grey. I can live with the morally questionable nature of the ethereals and all that, but...
Shore Strike did nothing wrong.
Absolutely. Well, okay, yes, he did massacre a lot of humans, but... Okay.
He was right for bombing a world that was contaminated by Nurgle, though. He was right for that.
Yeah.
He was the only one willing to do that.
Massacring a bunch of people is like the baseline 40k. That's nothing.
That's a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is for average Tuesday. But that's the thing with Tau being also noble bright, is they should do better. But yeah, it's one of them of I remembered when they did what was it called? Arcs of Omen 4, where they did the Farsight Arcs of Omen, and all the hints that Farsight was going chaos. And then they literally towed the line of Farsight's having visions. He's gonna go to Khorne. Ooh. No, he was actually gone. He was gone, and it was literally he was stood there envisioning himself as like a champion of Khorne. But the only reason he didn't go, as it were, is he realised that actually I do value my soldiers. Them dying actually matters. Because the visions were telling him like, your followers were too weak to fight. They're too weak to stay alive. If they were stronger, and Farsight was just like, hang on a minute, no.
I was more annoyed in regards to Arcs of Omen. They just decided to kill off Nazdreg.
Well, Nazdreg's been around since Basina 4. It's been 200 years. He can go. I don't like it, but he can go.
Yeah, but I like Nazdreg. I actually have his model.
Yeah, I like Nazdreg. I have nothing against Nazdreg. Teleporters are cool. But the War of Daka needed to end one way or the other.
Yeah.
I forget who Nazdreg is. I forget
he's the 4 teleporter guy. Gave Gaskell teleporter tech.
Ah, yeah. That's... I feel like a bit of an ass.
Reb and I do that sometimes, where we just assume that everyone knows everything we're talking about, and then we just realise and stop. Hang on, we've gone too far down the rabbit hole. Back we go. Hang on, start again.
Not a worry at all. It's a learning opportunity. That's something I should probably have known coming in.
It's fine. This is just how Ren feels every time I talk about Age of Sigmar in any depth with anybody, because Ren just like, you've lost me.
I feel that with
or
fantasy.
Whenever I talk about anything. Oh. Yeah.
No, rise above it. Rise above it.
The silence
Rise
in the
above it.
is telling.
Rise above it. Moving on.
Oh, that was some shade.
But yes.
But yeah, aside from that, not really too much else in the news, aside from some AOS faction packs coming out.
I do want to draw attention to some novels, though, actually, for Age of Sigmar, before you get too lost.
Go ahead.
They're doing the Stormcast versus Daughters of Cain.
Oh.
That's been brewing for a while.
That's been brewing for an edition now.
Yeah.
So the book in question is called Anvils of the Heldenhammer, The Ancients. It's by Dale Lucas, who writes a lot of elves and is very good at it. He wrote a lot of the Lumineth stuff, among other things. And it's now been 20 years since the fall of Anvilgard into Harkuron. But it follows a knight incantor trying to sneak into Harkuron in order to break out the Heldenhammer that are trapped. Because Morathi didn't kill the Stormcast. She imprisoned them, so they couldn't bring word back to Azir. And it's been 20 years now. So she's trying to sneak her way in. And so you might actually be watching a Stormcast stealth mission.
I thought
Makes change.
I thought part of when the Celestin Prime and her negotiated, part of that was freeing the trapped Stormcast, or she just had more. There being more she had locked up is entirely reasonable.
Yeah, this is Morathi we're talking about.
But lying is not above her.
Yeah, and I get the feeling that the Celestin Prime walked out of that negotiation with Morathi Kane, for want of a better phrase, steaming. Of just like, you could probably feel the anger radiating off of the Celestin Prime. Of just like, really? I've got to put up with this shit on my Thursday? I was just having fun smacking Keretics in the face with Gal Miraz, and now you're making me deal with this shit?
I would not want to be in the same room as Super Franz after that.
Who do you think the Celestin Prime is, since you mentioned... Do you think it is Cal Franz?
I think it's Franz. It's I mean, there's been all they really said is he was a great leader from the old world. My main basis for that is Karl Franz. He had Gal Miraz, Sigmar inhabited his body in the end times. Seems as good a candidate as any.
Yeah, true, because there was a whole thing when the Celestin Prime came along of, oh, who is the Celestin Prime? And everyone just sort of stopped talking about it.
Yeah. It'd be funny if it was Felix.
God, yeah, Gotrek going hunting down Nagash. Like, Nagash, give me Felix, whatever his fucking surname is. I know he's not Scottish, but I can't do a Brian Blessed voice of Scottish.
His surname is The Cat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Nagash goes, not my problem. Go ask the lightning guy. Go ask the lightning guy. And then he just turns around and is like, Sigmar?
Please put the X away.
Yeah, that would be a fun conversation. And you just got the Celestin Prime just like, Gotrek, I'm immortal. I'm a massive master killer now. Aren't you happy? Yes, I can't write down what you're doing anymore, but you seem to be happy just getting on, not dying without me. So just carry on not dying. I'll see you later. Go away. Go away. Don't put the axe down. Go away.
He's not going to have an option in that argument.
Especially because Grondi's there as well. Like, God, Gotrek and Grondi in the same room would be hilarious.
Grimnir's kind of in Gotrek's mind now, too. So that'd be...
hilarious.
Would it be just that same situation where Brian Blessed actually punched out a polar bear? That was actually a thing that happened.
Yes, I know. Brian. Yeah, I mean, this was a big thing when Brian Blessed became Gotrek. We talked about it a lot at the time.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of books as well, one you might be interested in, Neve. The new Ahriman book should be out on pre-order by the time this episode goes live.
Oh, yeah.
They stole his titties.
They did steal his titties, yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah, I don't know. After the fiasco's too strong a word that was Ahriman Eternal. Yeah, the disappointment that was Ahriman Eternal. I'm not super fussed to go and pick it up. And I probably should be, but I'm not.
Who knows, it might be better than the last one. That's what you can hope for.
That's a fucking low bar. Oh, sorry, I'm being rude to John French there. It's a much lower bar than it should be after the first 2 or 3. Because those first 2 or 3 were so good that everyone wanted Eternal, and then we got stuck in time loop Necron shenanigans when everyone remembers the last time we saw Ahriman, he was fighting the Ynnari trying to break into the Black Library, and that plot thread's just gone nowhere. It's like John French's Ahriman series does not match up with what Ahriman's doing in current canon. They're just completely detached from one another.
It was something associated with the Ynnari, so GW promptly put that back in the corner.
Probably.
What is the plot synopsis of this book anyway?
I don't even remember. Hold on.
Oh, he's looking for more Necron stuff. Okay.
Oh, for God's sake, will you just leave the fucking Necrons alone?
I think that'd be the opposite of what he'd want. I don't know what help he's going to expect the soulless robots to give him with warp stuff.
He's looking for something called the Key of Infinity.
No, he's got it.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
That's what he got.
Oh, I misread that. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, there's the whole thing of, we're all is dust and we're all going to be consumed by fire. It's like, the Thousand Suns are just constantly dying off screen, and Magnus doesn't seem concerned. Ahriman is dealing with it, but only when John French is writing it. It's like, this is the thing that annoys me sometimes when Black Library don't talk to the writers of the main plot, is that they're just completely detached from each other. And there's another series I'm sure that I'm trying to think of where what's going on with what they're doing day to day is completely detached from what happened in like a novel or a novel series, and I can't put my finger on which one I'm thinking of.
In fairness, that can be literally anything.
No, not all of them. Like, the Dante series jives in pretty well. So does the Mephiston series with what's going on. They tied that into the Devastation of Baal and then went off in different directions.
Yeah, but Devastation of Baal also ignored the stuff that was written in the Codex about how Kabanda and a big swarm of demons actually, invaded one of Baal's moons. And they just completely glossed over that part.
That happened in Devastation of Baal.
In the actual novel?
Yeah, that's where the Knights of Blood died.
So wasn't it it was kind of an off-screen thing, but on the moon it was the Knights of Blood and them, and then
the Flesh Towers were there too.
Yeah, vaguely remember reading something about
as I recall,
I must be misremembering them. My bad.
No, as I recall it correctly, Dante deployed Gabriel Seth, the Flesh Towers, and the Knights of Blood to Baal Primus, to the moon, so that the Flesh Towers would sort of get a bit of a reality check into what they were turning into if they carried on the way they were going with the Knights of Blood. And they were all going to die, and Kabanda then pops up, and the Knights of Blood are like, go. Just, we're done. We know we're done. We're going. Red Thirst. We're fucked. Just go. And the Flesh Towers dipped to get back to Baal.
I'll admit, it's been years since I read that book anyway, so.
Well, same for me. I read it in France in 2017, and it stuck with me. It was that good.
Didn't they summon Kabanda on purpose? Like, they saw he was coming, and they're like we got to get this out of the way. Or am I misremembering that with something else?
I remember there was a scene with Mephiston seeing Kabanda, through a portal, but that was back on Baal still.
Maybe that was... I don't remember the details, so if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But maybe that was Mephiston knew Kabanda was going to show up because he'd foretold it. So he shunted a giant pile of bloodshed and the most susceptible Blood Angel successors to Baal Primus to bait Kabanda there rather than have him show up on main Baal where he would have absolutely fucked everything up.
Which is the last thing they need when Hive Fleet Leviathan is bearing down.
Oh no, Hive Fleet Leviathan would have died, but so would the Archangelicum.
Oh yeah, now it's coming back. Fuck, it's been forever since I was reading bits of that.
Aside from the whole Blood Gorillas thing, the only thing I really remember about that book is the fact that for some reason Guy Hay decided to depict an Angel Sanguine walking around without his helmet. Even though, the whole thing about their lore is, no one sees what they look like under their helmets, and they'll try and kill anyone who tries to look. Like in James Swallow Blood Angels book, for example, there was a dead angel Sanguine. Corbulo tried to remove the helmet, and the guy said, if you take his helmet off, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill Mephiston, I'm going to kill Dante. And the guy's like, yeah, you can try. It's like, yeah, but I will try if you take your helmet off.
That's the point. I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's that thing with inconsistency of where the writers are not talking to each other or don't have the time, and it is time, it's not will, it's time, to do all the background research that we do when we make our lore videos. Because, like, well, I've made it for years, but I know I could easily spend weeks just skimming over details just to write a decent lore video, and I'd miss things that were canon conflicts. Imagine actually having to write the canon and keep in mind all the canon conflicts. It just doesn't work.
And we don't have like a timeline, as it were. Like there's no, CEO saying you need this book out within the next month for, a lore video.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I don't bear them any ill will for minor canon conflicts or continuity errors. I've no ill will for that. The thing that bugs me, and it's just bugs, is when it completely detaches itself from where Black Library is doing a thing and the main plot requires that character to do a job. Actually, Gendor Scrivock's probably a great example now I think about it. Sorry, Remleiz, to drag that name through for you again. Where, character is doing a thing in this set of books, but is now required for the main plot. Let's just conveniently ignore everything that was going on off to one side so that they can do the main plot, but that doesn't jive with what they were actually doing. Oh well.
That's when GW deploys the everything is canon, not everything is true defense.
Yes.
It's all in universe legends and myths, and definitely not someone in meddling.
Just like we can't remember where exactly Gilliman got the Emperor's sword from. Because we've got about 3 different contradicting accounts from that. 2 of them by the same author.
Maybe he found it in a bin somewhere. Somewhere just on Ultramar, just grabbed it like, oh, hey, what's this doing here?
Like, minor inconsistencies you can ignore, but when there's, like, major inconsistencies, it's hard to, look past them.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Ahriman that bugs me so much, just coming back to the original point that started this entire fucking tangent, is what Ahriman's doing in the John French novels is really interesting. What Ahriman's doing in the main Black Library plot thread with the Black Library and everything is very interesting. But the 2 of them do not talk to each other one fucking bit.
No, it's the hand and the brain are not making friends. Or left hand and right hand are not coming together.
What's the saying? Like, they don't know whether to wind their arse or scratch their watch.
Never heard that one before.
No, that's a new one on me as well. That's not a Britishism, that's a Remleiz, isn't it?
I'm gonna use that if I can help it.
Go for it.
Oh dear. Oh, did you know they're doing another global campaign thing?
Oh.
For AOS.
Oh. Is it, I'm guessing some with the Skaven?
Yeah. So they've been doing a Dawnbringer Crusade global campaign thingy-ma-what's-it over the past few months with store campaigns and things like that. And the cities of Sigmar won massively, obviously.
Naturally.
But that doesn't seem to have had an outcome. They are doing a, sort of like they've done with the Tyranids and Marines, they're doing a narrative campaign based on the Skaventide box, where they get a QR code in the Skaventide box, and you can log in your contribution to the battle for Hell Crown, and whichever side wins gets all their reveals way before the other side.
Ooh.
Because the Tyranids got all their models revealed before the Space Marines, because they won last time, if you might recall.
Oh, I did not actually know that.
No, it's buried away in one of the articles today on Warhammer Community.
Oh, I see. Sounds about right. I am though very behind on anything current. I usually just sit in my own little bubble and work on whatever. I was telling Remleiz before you joined that I didn't know 4th edition was coming out tomorrow, so I put it on a faction video the day after. So that's going to immediately turn into just aged like milk.
Yeah, I had the same problem where I made a lore video on the history of the Ultramarines, and in the time between me editing and scheduling it and it coming out, they revealed fucking Gilliman.
Ouch.
Literally, I carried a whole video about Gilliman is rumoured to be slowly healing, and then boom, Gilliman's back. And I'm like, I've already put the script up for render, I've already written it, edited it, published it, ready for scheduled, ready to go live, and they fucking dropped Gilliman. I was like, oh, you fucking kidding me? And then the comments like, did you know Gilliman's actually alive now? And it's like, I fucking know. I already wrote the script a month ago. What more do you fucking want?
That's when you quietly add like legacy or something like that in the hashtags of the video. Just like, old lore.
No, I left it to stand because it was it was primarily themed around the Legion rather than anything. It was more just, it would have been lovely to say, oh, Gilliman has recently returned to lead the Ultramarines in the 41st millennium, but we'll have to see how that plays out. That's all I would have needed to add, but I was just like, fuck off.
It was like, it's already up, I can't stop.
Yeah, actually, you, Rem, you've been getting involved with YouTube on Twitter about this, haven't you? About editing videos.
Yeah, because I noticed like a while back, like some channels have the ability to update the source files of their videos, so like they can upload a new version of a video but keep the view count and the likes, etc., etc. It's basically like music video channels, I noticed, all corporate or business channels, because like you get like a video for a Slipknot song from like 12, 13 years ago. It's like 4K HD 2022 versions. Like, how do you have a 2022 version from 13 years ago? Kind of thing. So I spoke to someone from YouTube about it. It's like, is it possible? It's like, oh, it's not possible. Well, how's this channel able to do that? Oh, it's because they're a business account. Business accounts are allowed to do that. Well, shouldn't everyone be allowed to do that? Just leave feedback and we'll get back to you. It's like, and yeah, it's just, I've been spamming their feedback thing every day. So like, please let everyone be able to update their source files because it will help everyone.
So convenient.
It would be so convenient. And then YouTube on Twitter says like, oh, it's not possible. It's like, yeah, don't fucking lie to me because you've told me it is possible. Shut the fuck up.
I'm looking at someone update their songs. It's clearly possible. Someone did it.
Yeah. And then they have the audacity to say, oh, please fill out this survey on how we did today. It's like, yeah, fucking one.
You did shit, is how you did. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
YouTube, one of the only companies that can outshine GW's occasional flubs of consumer unfriendliness.
Yeah, but here's the difference, though. Like, Games Workshop actually has decent customer service.
Oh, yeah. GW, I've had a couple times, like, a model something, and within, like, a week, it's like, oh, yeah, here's a free replacement kit. I'm like, I just needed a gun, but thank you. YouTube
yeah, they did
customer.
that to me, actually, with Farsight, because they sent him... I bought one that didn't have a head.
It's a brand new Farsight. You can have Farsight. Yeah, free A's.
Well, no, not that much Farsight, because it still only had one head.
Just basically bulk it to look even bigger.
Yeah, actually, I don't think we ever asked earlier. What's your army, Pancreas?
Main for 40k, Craft Worlds. I like my Eldar.
God.
I am an elf man, alright? I'm an elf man.
So I'm an elf girl in AOE. I played all the elves, but Craft Worlds can go die in a hole.
What did they do to you?
6th edition. That's what they did.
In fairness, Neve, both Craft Worlds and Tau were both broken at one point. So
yeah, I've heard
Fish
about
of Fury.
Oh yeah, I've heard. You want to double down on that, Taudar?
We didn't have fucking Strength D Flamers. Strength D Flamers. And look. Psychic Jet Bike Spam. And Wraith Knights. I know the Riptide was bullshit, but the Wraith Knight was worse because it could actually do melee as well.
2 up invuln save, 18 wounds. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, Taudar was a thing. I'm not disputing that Taudar was a thing. But the primary army in Taudar was Eldar, with a splash of Tau. It was never pure Tau. Tau were never that bullshit on their own. And when they actually were fun to play, in 7th edition, Eldar were top of the meta again. And yeah, and the less said about fucking, fate points or whatever they had in 8th edition as well. Like, sorry, they've been broken my entire hobby lifetime. They can fuck off.
It is not my fault that the primitives of the galaxy simply can't hope to match my glorious space elves.
You preening narcissist, get in the bin.
And there's me who remembers them from 2nd edition and how crap they were. Guy into arm with las guns. That's
we weren't born, Remleiz.
It's hard not to remember 2nd edition if you're an Eldar player because the warp spiders are still around.
Yeah.
Still the same model.
They turned 30 this year. A couple of months ago, in fact, they turned 30.
I looked, because I got curious, I looked up the age, it got hit with a 30. Lovely. And I mean, they're so old. Not only can they drink, but in America at least, they get cheaper car insurance. Because when you hit like 26, you get cheaper car insurance. That's how goddamn old these models are. They can get cheaper cars. What the hell? If it helps, it's not going to help. You were just complaining about Wraiths. I play Iandon, the Wraith faction.
Hey, I play Farsight Enclaves with Farsight Bomb, so I can't talk.
I just like my ghost robots. It's not a meta pick. I just like my ghosts.
Yeah, I'm the same. I like battle suits because battle suits are fucking cool.
Yeah.
So, no, I get it completely. But I find it weird because I actually really like Dark Eldar and Harlequins. I would never ever play them because they're too hard to paint. But
oh god,
it's just something about Craft Worlds just rubs me up the wrong way. Like, I don't know what it is, but they always have annoyed me. Which is weird because I play Daughters of Cain, I play Ideneth, I played Illumineth, I play Cities of Sigmar, like Darkling Covens. I literally play all the elves under the sun, but just Craft Worlds annoy the hell out of me, and I don't know why.
Fair enough. Everyone has some faction that you look at and you're just like, I'm filled with hate. I look at this and my day is worse off for it.
Yeah.
If it helps, my AOS fellas are mostly, pardon the diabetic yelling. Pardon the beep. If it helps, my AOS armies mostly are now death.
Yeah, I was tempted to try Ossiarch out at one point.
They're so cool. It helps, especially that Nagash is a 950-point model. So there's half of a 2K army right there.
Did we have a dropout?
Might have.
No, sorry.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Sorry, I was looking at some of the spearhead stuff that people have been working on, and there's a really cool Lumineth conversion set, which I'm just going to, just give me 2 seconds, I'm just going to send it into the Discord, because I think it's just really cool. This is a really cool Lumineth army that someone's done for Spearhead as part of the new edition, and it completely distracted me.
That is very
and they've
pretty.
all got they're all converted too. Like even all the Auralan Sentinels have got old High Elf Archer or Shadow Warrior heads.
Ah.
Like they're old elf heads. They all are.
Oh yeah, those are. Oh, that's cool.
Mm.
I think someone, my favorite kit might have been someone.
Oh wait, someone's done fucking Nurgle Sylvaneth. Hang on.
Oh.
Hold on. Pete Harrison at the Wargamer is cooking. Oh wow, that's a cool Lumineth conversion.
Oh.
Ah.
Nurgle Sylvaneth. That's a cool ass kit.
That is impressive.
Very. I like the pustules and the tree man.
Mm.
That was a creative inspiration from hell itself. That came directly from Nurgle for that dude.
And I appreciate the fact they're using the Plaguebearer skulls from the Skulls box set. Which, can you even get anymore? That just big box of skulls.
I believe you can.
I think you might be able to. I've got one in a drawer I haven't used yet, but I think I also got that like 3 years ago, so I actually don't know.
Because I use that as like the best visual reference. Okay, what does a Tau skull look like? Okay. Because I actually had some. So it's like, okay, so this is what it actually looks like. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, it's one of those things of... I don't know how much you played Combat Patrol or are looking to play Spearhead, because this sort of system of really compressed army building where you've got no unit options whatsoever, you've just got shortened down rules, one army, one build, no variation whatsoever, but you can play it in half an hour, or an hour probably. It's a really cool concept, but it's so irritating for like existing players. Like as an Ideneth player, I can make that just because I happen to have some eels that are converted into Morsar Guard, but I prefer Ishlayan because of the shields. Can't take those. or the Daughters one, it's got fucking Doomfire Warlocks in it for some bloody reason, even though I really would never take them. And Blood Sisters are way better, but Bloodstalkers are the pick. But at the same time, it seems like, and what these people have done with Spearhead is do massive amounts of conversion and kit bash, because it's a small army and a small game system. Go mad, because this is all you're doing. I think it's a really interesting place to, splash into an army if you just want to do a mad conversion project. Could be cool. I don't know.
Yeah, and at least some of the Spearhead boxes, them and the Vanguard. Which are they facing out Vanguard for Spearhead?
Yes, they're basically the same thing.
I looked at a picture of a bunch of the planned boxes, and I'm like, this is that sure is a different name you're giving that army box. It looks like the same damn thing. But I respect. I kind of agree. I respect it for what it is. It would be nice if they had a bit more customization, but especially because it's like the rundown, quicker version. If someone said, "Hey, I've got these are the," like you're saying the Idenith, I know these are the eels with shields, but I'm running them as the other option, I wouldn't be too offended, especially because the point is, quick game, just get in it, get out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think where this is really good for people who are like me, and I'm going to call myself, again, a hobby butterfly, who flits between projects. Like, I have Tau, Orcs, Chaos Marines, Lumineth, Idneth, Slaanesh Demons, Blades of Khorne running through Warhammer Club, and Daughters of Cain, all on at once. And I barely ever touch them most of the time, but I just dip in now and then. I flit around. Like, at the minute, I'm doing Kroot. I'm on a Kroot Fiesta for my Tau, because I love the new Kroot. But I know at some point I'm going to get bored, and so I can just jump to, oh, hey, I'll put some Traitor Guard together. Or, oh, hey, I'll paint some Witch Elves. And I really like that. And Spearhead seems like a great place for hobby butterflies to go. Same as Combat Patrol. Where you're just like, oh, you're interested in trying a new army out, but don't want to commit. Here, buy one box. One box. You could easily get the rules off the internet, because Combat Patrol is cheap as shit, and the Spearhead rules are one page. You could easily get that off the internet, and then, boom, you've got a new army for 90 quid, or whatever. You're never going to expand it unless you really like it, but you don't have to. You can just focus on making this force as cool as possible, then taking it to locals, smashing everybody with it, and like, okay, I'm bored now, I'll sell it on. Or you can sit on the shelf without taking up much room.
Yeah. I like that term, hobby butterfly, a lot. I feel that so much.
I don't remember who I got the term from, but I've had that term for over a decade now. I think I got it out of I was either off Daka Daka, the old forum, or out of White Dwarf. It was one or the other. Might have been a Tale of Four Gamers article.
I feel that so much, though. I'm looking behind me. I'm like, yep, there's Nagash, there's an Avatar of Cain, there's Karl Franz. One of these they're going to get completed eventually. Slowly.
Yeah, I'm the same. Sigvald, Teclis, Marathi Kane, Eidolon, Farsight, Gazkul. Whenever they redo Huron Blackheart, because I'm not buying the old one.
You can't get anyway, so.
And that.
Yeah, a model is never late nor early. It is painted precisely when it needs to be.
Oh no, all of those models are painted. It's just, I'll just dip back into the... I've sort of taken to keeping trophies of my butterfly projects. Like, I bought Lumineth during lockdown, made like 2,000-ish, maybe 3,000 points of them, sold the lot but kept Teclis. And I did the same with Slaanesh. Like, I bought a bunch of stuff because I thought they were really cool and I love the models, but then got completely intimidated by Blitzbarb archers. And I was like, I'm not painting those. They are far too complicated for basic fucking infantry. Get lost. So got rid of all of them, but kept Sigvald. So yeah, it's almost, when you create a collection, you're almost just going to end up with, there'll probably be a day where I'll have no Warhammer left. I'll have sold it, or I'll pass it on to my daughter, or it'll have been donated to a Warhammer club or whatever. And there'll just be a shelf where it'll go Teclis, Marathi, Gazkul, Eidolon, Farsight, Sigvald, whatever else I've dived into in the preceding 40 years. I don't bloody know.
All the big lads hanging out.
Yeah, just keep the legends. If I did Admech, I'd keep my call. If I do Chaos properly, I'd keep Abaddon or whatever. Just a little memorandum of, yeah, I did that.
It's always nice. I like to keep the old. I say old at this point. It's been like 4 years since I started properly getting into everything. With like my first 3 models are on a Place of Prominence, just some like Stormcast and that old kits where it's like you get 6 paints, a brush, and 3 push fit models.
Oh yeah,
it's nice to have them as like, hey, this is how far you've come in the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. I've still got my Black Reach big shooter boy, and this is ridiculous. Where I was playing 5th, and this was back when vehicles had armor values. And my big shooter rolled a 6 to score a penetrating hit against my opponent's orc truck. And because of the open topped rule, it managed to wreck it. So it one-shot an orc truck with a big shooter, which statistically is very, very difficult to do with orcs, because it's 5 to hit, 6 to penetrate, and then a 5 up to kill. So it was not easy to do. And so I took a Stormboy rocket pack that I had spare, and I stuck it on his head like a fucking crown. Still got it somewhere.
It's his proper trophy.
Still got it somewhere. Oh, what it was to be 12.
Oh, unrelated note. I learned something fairly interesting recently. Do you know back in 8th edition they retconned the origin of the Sisters of Battle?
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, you know how originally Sisters of Battle came into existence because like the ecclesiarchies no longer allow men at arms, but these are women, so loophole, lol, kind of thing. Yeah, they changed that back in 8th.
Hang on. Sorry, slow down. Like they yes, but they've still kept the Goj Van Dyer shit, right?
They kept the Go Van Dyer stuff, yeah, but they changed the reason how they came into existence. Like, no longer men at arm loophole thing. That's not a thing anymore. Well, the thing is now is the ecclesiarchy was forbidden from having a standing army, period. And then Sebastian thought around and said, "Oh well, Sisters of Battle are exempt. Why are they exempt? Because we need a standing army to defend the faith." Okay, sure, whatever. And that's the reason now.
Excuse me, just clearing a little bit of space. It's been a while since we've had one of these. Head desk.
Hooray! Return of the head desk. But yeah, that's only back in 8th, and no one noticed.
That completely flew under the radar. I did not know that.
How did we let that one get past us?
It's been like 3 editions now, 3 codices.
Yeah.
Oh my god! How did we let that one get past us?
I think a lot of people just don't read it because like, okay, we know the origins is about. We don't need to read the background. What's the new stuff? Kind of thing.
True.
That's so much less fun.
Yeah, it is. It's pointless. Like the whole Men-at-Arms loophole thing, dumb as it is dumb as a brick, let's be completely honest. But at least it's novel. Yeah. At least it's different.
And it fits with how stupid imperial bureaucracy is as well. So it's a loophole. It's like, okay, yeah, we're too lazy to patch it, kind of thing.
Yeah, rather than hand-waving him because the ecclesiarch said, well, if the ecclesiarch could just fucking say so, then what was the point? Like, when were the ecclesiarchy banned from Men-at-Arms again? Was it literally Goj Van Dyer?
Yeah, basically after the siege of the ecclesiarchal palace and, like, Alicia Dominica killed Go Van Dyer. It's like, right, that's it. Ecclesiarchy is no longer allowed an army because, you know, this shit happens.
So, literally, that standing ban on the Sisters of Battle, literally, so the Sisters of Battle...
One second, I'll grab a copy, because I got the 10th edition codex on a shelf near me. I'll grab it and I'll read the passage verbatim for you, 1 second.
That would be helpful, because like I'm just sort of sat here thinking, like, right, so Sebastian Thor became the ecclesiarch after Goj Van Dyer died. So he put in the ban on no standing army for the ecclesiarchy, asterisk. Like, why would you bother with the fucking asterisk?
Yeah, and then... Because in this version...
Go on.
I've got the codex. Okay, I'm going to just find the page. 1 second.
It just turns around. It's like, oh, except for the standing army, you're allowed. No standing army except for that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So dumb.
Okay. The The wake of Van Dyer's death saw a reformation of the ecclesiarchy. Sebastian Thor was elevated to the position of ecclesiarch, and at his instigation was the decree passive issued. No more could the ecclesiarchy possess a standing army, yet Thor believed that the Imperial Creed was humanity's only hope in the face of increasing chaos and Xenos threats, and that its defense would be of the utmost importance. Thus did he order the formation of the Adeptus Sororitas.
What?
Page 11 of the 10th Ed Codex, for those wondering.
No, I know, I know what, but what? That's just so inconsistent. It's like, oh yes, the decree passive says we shall not have a standing army. Oh, also we're going to keep the Sisters of Battle as a standing army. What?
Yeah. It's kind of contradictory, isn't it?
It's like, I mean, not that it's that clever, just going, these aren't men under arms. Ooh. Like, not that it's that clever. It's like, there's no loophole or, like, funny bit anymore. It's just also...
The ecclesiarch's not allowed an army. By the way, here's an army.
Yeah, it's just like, we're actually just ignoring it.
Yeah, that's literally like saying... it's like, that'd be like, just to put this in context for maybe people who don't understand how stupid this is. This would be like Robert Gilliman going, right, so we're going to split all the legions into chapters, except the Imperial Fists. They get to stay.
I mean, technically that's what happened with the Salamanders, because they were made exempt, because there were so few of them left.
Well, yeah, but that's not the same thing. So the Salamanders didn't split because they could not split. That's the thing. Well, we're not going to split the Imperial Fists because Dorn doesn't want to.
Dorn said no.
And Dorn did say no, but Gilliman made him fucking listen, and the Iron Cage made him fucking understand. So it's that levels of dumb.
But yeah, it was a retcon that went under everyone's noses for like 3 editions.
Are we sure? Wait, have we managed to reference it back in the 8th edition one? As that's when it happened, or was it in the 7th one? Did it come in the 9th one? Are we definitely sure it's the 8th one?
Well, 7th didn't have a Sororitas Codex, did it?
Did it not?
Oh yeah.
Their Codex releases as physical books was 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 8th edition.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember, because I remember we talked a lot about when the Sisters of Battle were getting redone, but I swear they were getting redone during 7th and they just never got finished before 8th. Or something, I can't remember. Because they teased them for like a year. They did the whole mock-up, like first 3D render of the first Battle Sister like a year out.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you can forgive me for forgetting which edition it was, because it went on for half of the fucking edition.
Hang on, I've got a PDF of the 3rd edition one. Let me see if it actually changes anything in that as well. Because it could be all the way back in 3rd, but no one noticed.
Yeah, well, I've got the Tau Codex at home, so I might have to have another read through that. Because if I don't, I might have missed something, so I'll check.
I feel like I gotta go read through my Eldar Codex again. I'm gonna find some like, oh, by the way, the Slash doesn't exist, or something like that.
Oh dear. Yeah, okay, so in 3rd edition, it was still the Men-at-Arms loophole thing in the 3rd edition Codex. So it was 8th edition where the changes were made.
I wonder if that's something then... I wonder if that was they thought to change it for the big Codex, like, yeah, it's updated everything. We've gone through and updated everything, or if that's something.
In fairness, they've been doing a lot of like retcons over the 8th edition codices. Like, with the Necrons, 3rd edition Necron Codex, the Votann ate the bodies of the Necron tier. Then like 5th edition to like 7th edition, they ate the Light Force, and then like 9th edition, they ate the souls. It's like, make your mind up.
We'll go with whatever. You just got to pick one and stick with it. Stop changing it every launch.
It's Necrons. They change every edition.
The less said about
That's
Necrons.
true. They used to just be Tomb Terminators. Now they're Tomb Kings.
Except for the one edition where they were Tomb Terminators.
No, yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's out of every retcon James has done, that's probably one of the less egregious ones. I mean, it gave us actual characters, right?
Oh, it's the most egregious by the sheer amount of retconning that got done, but it was one of those it was a necessary retcon to make Necrons not just Tyranids.
Yeah, maybe I should have said, like, not like in the sense of like this is a positive change. It's like, you know what, I'm okay with this one.
The funny thing is, like, with 3rd edition, like, that's what introduced like special characters for Nids.
Really?
Swarmlord, Old One Eye, the Red Terror.
Parasite and Mortrax. Actually, no, Parasite and Mortrax was 5th. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But yeah, Old One Eye and Red Terror were special characters.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it is weird to look back. I'm sure doubly so for you, Remleiz, but just as someone who's been through 5 editions of 40k now, just how much has changed from where we started. Like, in the 15, 16 years, it's pretty much 16 almost exactly to the day, almost, since I started. It's like we've gone from the Eldar are nearly dead, the Necrons are around but not much, the Tower barely a fucking footnote, the Tyranids...
Yeah, have hive worlds. Yeah, they have hive worlds.
Well, yeah, but there's still like a galactic scale of involvement in much war. Damocles wasn't really a thing at this point. Chaos Marines were around. Abaddon was a fail boat, like just a constant scene of failure, so everyone perceived. You're in the guard.
That was mainly because of his model, in fairness, because he had the old metal model where the arms would not stay on.
Yes, fail but on the
armless.
Yeah, fail but on the armless. But yeah, it's just, I think back, I still remember flicking through White Dwarf 353 of they did a half-page faction focus on each faction that was in the game. So Guard were fighting someone, and Orcs were fighting Tau, and Dark Eldar and Eldar, Necrons fighting demons, and I still remember that page, a little spread. And I just think, like, Guard, well, Creed's gone. We've now got no Cadia, none of that stuff. Marines have now got Primarchs back. Chaos have got demons all over the place. Primarchs are back, and also the giant warp rift that's eaten half the galaxy. Gazkul's mega evolved. The Tau now half have a god. The Necrons have completely had a personality implant, not even transplant, implant. Genestealer cults are a thing. Admech's a thing. Votann's a thing. Sisters of Battle are a thing. Grey Knights are much more of a thing. Death Watch are much more of a thing. It's like this.
Apparently, that codex is getting scrapped.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean. But like, and Yanari's a thing. It's just like the amount.
Sorry.
Quote unquote thing.
Yeah, it's just the amount of stuff that's
definitely present.
Yeah, just the stuff that's changed from 5th edition when I started to 10th edition now. It's just like. It's the same galaxy with the same characters, but nothing's the fucking same.
No.
The funny thing about that is that the Votann being a thing are going back to older Warhammer.
We're going back to 2nd edition, lads.
The squats are back, baby. Being drip-fed lore. Oh, man, poor... Shout out to Deep Rock Galactic for being the only thing keeping Leagues of Votann fans alive.
Well, there's also... Dead Zone by Mountain with their Forgefather faction, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh yeah. I forget. I need to keep more up with them. I want to, but then I zone out and just be like, oh, I wish the leagues were more dwarfy. I don't think they're dwarfy enough.
How so?
It's not very creative, but I think I just want them to be like Warhammer Fantasy Dwarfs in space. Give me my book. Give me my your worth as a person is based on your beard length. There are beardless Votann, and that is a sin. That is horrendous. It feels like they're caught in a halfway point between like something very unique and just like really just dwarf in stature and being proper like just dwarfs in space.
Well, the good thing is that Necromunda has you covered in that regard with the Ironheads.
That's true. Necromunda is a saving grace with that. Those are phenomenal. Just the Votann is like a faction as a whole, and wider 40k seem to be in that, like, to me at least, in middle space, and it's a middle space that is the worst of both worlds. They really need to pick one.
Maybe that's why I help the Eldar so much, because they're basically not high elves.
They were, and then they're slowly moving away from that, but it's still there, and not...
At least they have a
really
consistent
weird
aesthetic now, though, in fairness. Like, it's like back in first and second edition, you had this weird mix of, like, fat, hairy bikers and Vikings. You know, it's like, it didn't really mesh.
That is very true. They don't...
So at least it's consistent.
They do have an identity. I guess it's just an identity I'm not the biggest fan of.
And I mean, they do still a lot of dwarvy things. You've still got the mining, you've still got the slow movement,
Grudges.
the reliance on guns, grudges. They have the ancestor ability, the ancestor tokens they use in game. So they do a lot of dwarfy things. They just don't have big enough beards for you, I think, is the problem.
Maybe that is the ultimate issue. I need more beard. More beard, and I'd probably be a lot happier, I guess. Maybe that's the ultimate problem.
Buy some Votann and
judging on
kit bash them.
That's true. I can just buy some of those old dwarf kits or some from Old World when they're finally released. Just put them on the Votann.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, admittedly, the whole, the ancestor cores, the actual AI that sort of, not govern's the wrong word, but you know what I mean, with the Votann ancestor
guide.
Cores, that's really cool, but also really dumb at equal measure, and definitely is not very dwarvish.
Yeah, double down on the Windows Vista gods, or double down on the dwarf. I feel like you gotta pick one. But, I don't know, I'm not a game designer. I fully admit I barely know what I'm talking about. So, all that being said, I do, the models are very cool. The funny Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles land fortress is the peak.
God.
Out of curiosity, have either of you two read OG Rogue Trader?
Ages ago. It's been a long time.
It is
long time.
I haven't read through all of it, but I was looking I found a PDF online, and just blew my mind. I was reading through the Space Marine section, and I'll have to double check. I don't think I saw the word Primarch in there once. Lehman Russ is there, but he was just a dude.
Yeah, I think if I recall correctly, the concept of Primus was introduced in the first Realm of Chaos book, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a long time since I've had a proper read through.
I think even then they were just the first chapter master. They weren't, the
pretty much, yeah.
Demigods, sons of the Emperor. He was the first. So prime mark.
It's even weirder when you go back and look at the very, 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 very first bits of lore for the Horus Heresy. The Vengeful Spirit wasn't even a thing. It's the Emperor led the Imperial Fist on an attack on Horus's bunker.
Oh yeah, that's right. He didn't have a ship. It was just a hole in the ground.
Yeah. No Blood Angels or Custodians, but just the Imperial Fist in that regard.
It's funny too, because I think if...
And then a year later they expanded to have the Duel and the Vengeful Spirit with that story by Bill King.
Yeah.
Which is classic.
Pius, all those other stuff. I think if I remember right, wasn't the Horus Heresy only a thing because they didn't have the molds for 2 armies? They came up with a lore reason for why is it just 2 Space Marines going at it?
It might be, I don't know.
That was I would need to double check because I read that online somewhere, but massive master's asterisk for anything that...
Yeah, take that with a pinch of salt, yeah.
Yeah.
Just like with anything with Steel Confessors. Because people say, oh yeah, their lore was handed out with an Index of Studies article at Games Day. It's I can't find a copy of that anywhere. I've even asked Games Workshop staff members who were there. It's no, we've never even heard of that. So it's anything about the Steel Confessors you see online, take with a massive pinch of salt because there's a possibility all of it could be bullshit.
So if we just Mandela affected ourselves into thinking this was a thing that existed?
It might have been. Because I tried getting a copy of the program from that particular Games Day, because I had the 4th edition Black Templar Codex on the cover, and there's nothing in that regarding Steel Confessors at all. And I got it off eBay, so. But yeah, I think on Lexicon, for example, there's a massive disclaimer saying all of this supposedly comes from this, but no one could find a copy to verify.
We're getting a point. Turns out there never were Steel Confessors.
Basically, it's a 4chan shitpost of my uncle works at Nintendo levels of nonsense.
my dad works for Microsoft, and he can get you banned from Xbox Live.
There was quote, there was an Index Astartes Steel Confessors in the form of the Games Day 2005 Battle for Kelava leaflet. So far, it has, however, not been possible to verify the actual content of this leaflet. Therefore, the information claimed to have been included in this disappeared leaflet cannot be shown in this article. In order to make it nonetheless accessible, you can make it quote-unquote here. It's like they claim it's unverified, but there's like screenshots of models on a gaming table in glorious like 120p.
This is some crunchy footage, like picture.
Oh my god. But that could just be some random kid's homebrew. Just a random kid brought their army to games day and it's on a table. Big fucking whoop.
He just had a big pamphlet he was handing out to people.
Allegedly, there was also a giant Steel Confessor as well on display.
Oh, that big tactical marine.
Yeah.
I found the...
But yeah.
This looks like old... like something you'd find like a creepypasta wiki with all the images.
So instead of Smile, you get Smile Space Wolf.
That's what the like last 20 years, 30 maybe, and this is like lost footage.
Yeah, because I had a quick search for the actual leaflet, and so far, like, the only post I can see is one person asking, "Does anyone have a copy of this?" And no one's responded. So I'm going to call bullshit on this person until it's proven otherwise. I'm calling bullshit on it. Just like, with the any of the content within that novel, Umbra Somnus, the Dark Hunters novel, where there's only like 20 copies in existence because Black Library got sued by Bungie.
Wait, what?
Got sued by Bungie?
Wait, what?
Yeah, because I mentioned this in the last episode, but the basic story was like some author of the Halo novels was complaining that Games Workshop was like ripping off or plagiarizing their content because their series was called The Dark Hunters, and this is a Dark Hunters Space Marine novel. And Games Workshop turned and said,
the Dark Hunter's been around a lot longer.
And Games Workshop said, it's not worth fucking trouble, just pull it from shelves, we can't deal with the hassle, kind of thing.
Bungie has Microsoft support.
Wait, Microsoft supports a thing? I thought, well, given how crashy Xbox servers used to be, are you sure Microsoft supports a thing?
Microsoft legal support.
I grew up in the PS3, Xbox 360 wars, so like back in the days where it was a big deal of who got the COD DLC first.
Oh my! I was a 360 kid, so I think we might need to have some words.
Nah, it's fine. It's just, can you just fucking map your buttons correctly and then we'll be fine. Actually, no, the people we need to talk to about mapping your buttons correctly isn't Microsoft, it's fucking Nintendo. Map the X and Y button in the same way as everybody fucking else, please.
Nintendo is a next level like galaxy brain with their everything that isn't directly their video game. I have no idea what's going on over there. Like, oh yeah, the video game they make is great. The controller you gotta use, the online service. Some dude in a cave put that together.
Oh, correction. It wasn't the Bungie Dark Hunter series. It was some person's fantasy romance novel called The Dark Hunter.
Some random jabroni and GW pussied out of the legal suit.
Yeah.
They tried to copyright the word Space Marine. Why did they back out of this one?
Oh yeah, I forgot that. that backfired right quick.
I have no idea.
Oh, it absolutely did, but they tried. But some random romance novels where they draw the line.
Oh my god.
James fears the wrath of mid-40s housewives, I guess.
It's like when they rebranded every single faction from Imperial Guard and Space Marines and Stormtroopers for the Militarum Tempestus and all this, because they were just shit scared of running foul of, like, I think, Star Wars, with the Imperial Guard and the bloody Stormtroopers for the what became the Militarum Tempestus were known as Stormtroopers. You can't copyright Stormtrooper, but Militarum Tempestus you certainly fucking can.
I know. I think they did that with Disney too, which is why in AOS Malekith is Malarian.
Well, to be fair, I wouldn't want to try and take on Marvel Comics.
No.
He's Malarian now in Old World as well.
Oh god, that's right. God, I remember I was going through the core rule books and I was curious. I'm like, oh yep, it's Malarian. I'm gonna keep calling him Malekith.
He's Malekith
which is
in
weird
fantasy. He's Malarian in AOS. I won't call him Malekith in AOS.
I just call him Malekith. Just it's because Total War. That's the weird thing, though. Like Total War is completely just Malekith, but they renamed him in Old World, which is still, it's fantasy. I
don't think Creative Assembly cares.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. They're relentlessly
in
getting.
fairness, there might be different licensing laws in regards to games or books or tabletop games. Something might be different. I'm not a legal expert, but it can be
it's also not a Creative Assembly original character. It's so
I see, maybe because they're just using the likeness from some legal standpoint.
Yeah, but we're not lawyers. Probably best we don't go there. Do you know what this has reminded me of? And I don't know why it's reminded me of this. Speaking of people doing bullshit revolving around stuff to do with Warhammer, do you remember when PETA tried to sue Games Workshop?
Oh, because the fake fur thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you see Matt Ward's response to them?
Oh, I was just going to bring that up. That was, say what you want about Matt Ward, but that was one of the best things I've ever seen.
I think that either he's putting on the screen or the viewers need to.
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen. But basically, they had a bunch of animal rights activists getting killed by a bunch of Catachan face eaters because they tried to rescue them.
That's beautiful. They went after them for Space Wolf fur pelts, if I remember correctly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That sounds about right for PETA. This is what needs to be focused on, suing this miniature company.
Yeah, I remember when it happened, we did the podcast afterwards, and I vaguely remember us just pissing ourselves laughing at how ridiculous the whole thing was. Horus has a giant mutated space wolf pelt on his shoulder, therefore how can it be unethical? It was a fucking murder wolf from outer fucking space. Get over yourself.
Sanguinius has a giant alien saber-toothed tiger.
Exactly. And then let me start on Constantine Valdor,
who has everything, it seems, on him.
Pick an animal.
So, what animal do you want? Yes.
All of them. I would like the zoo.
That would be
for
really
my
cool
armor.
to have a character wearing a chimera pelt. That would be really cool, for the record.
They should have released a new expansion where it's just Valdor goes to the zoo or some stuff like that in response. For a limited time, you can run an army of Jokero, Space Wolf, Wolfen, and I don't know, something else like that. I'm surprised for suing stuff. Nothing with Bungie, the Tau and the Marathon logo has never come up. That's
the white ring around the outside. It makes it all the difference. That white ring around the outside.
Really distinct.
That's probably it.
And yet it still appeared Marvel Comics. That one comic where Venom fought the Tau.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. There was just a bunch of alien vehicles that two of them were very clear. That's the Tau. What is that doing there?
Yes, I remember that. That was 2016? 17?
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. Mind you, actually, that's something. There's never been a symbiote faction in 40k.
Oh.
That would be a really interesting faction, like a symbiote faction.
They absorb, or the kind of more just strictly Venom, or they merge.
I think either that or the Trill from Star Trek.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, you can do it in a few different ways. You can sort of go down the Gene Stealer cult route of symbiotic relationship, mutated organisms, and things like that. You can go down the possession style route, a la demons, and an idea of demonic possession, but biological. Or you could go down sort of a much more eldritch route of brain fungus and mind control, and Parasect from Pokemon comes to mind with the Cordyceps. But
you can do that with the Tau because there's the brainworms, isn't there? In the Tau Empire, there's that there's brainworms in the Tau Empire, isn't there?
Oh, isn't that that one of those ethereal things or something?
No,
one of the explanations.
No, there's one of the auxiliaries.
No.
There's a race of brainworms.
Oh God, that's right.
Oh, and also the Court of the Archon has a brain on its head. Medusae.
Oh yeah, the Medusa, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I say Medusae? That's such a weird way to pronounce it.
You went very French. It's the Medusa.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think it'd be a really cool faction to have a mix of maybe you've got a squad of, we'll call them guardsmen for the sake of argument, who've got like a symbiote leader, and the symbiote always is there as like a symbiotic support shield. So, you know, it's got toughness 5 and 2 wounds and really hits hard in melee, but it always has to take the damage. But then it jumps. There's a maybe 33%, 50%, 60% chance that when it is killed for the first time, it jumps to a new host. And therefore you lose access to that gun that they had. That might be a really powerful ranged weapon, but now you've got your tank. Or you could choose not to roll and say, actually, I don't need my tanky shield guy. I want the extra gun. And you could have them symbiotically merge with technology and maybe do like Anarchy the Traveler level nonsense. Or you could go for full-on like possession and like Mind Shackle Scarab type of, you know, we're going to send out a small symbiotic agent to possess an enemy so that they lash out against their peers or something like that. I just, it's a place that 40k's not been, and that's rare.
That would be really cool. I think my personal thing with that would probably be something like the Flood from Halo, where you got like a weak starter army, but you go out and infect a bunch of models and you get stronger by just stealing stuff from the enemy. But I don't know. I'm also Halo's strongest fanboy, so that's probably not helping. Yeah,
it's like, do you remember when Age of Sigmar came out and you could make zombie units that got bigger than they started?
I think that there's still some limited bit of that. Like, it's not very likely because zombies are
awful.
They exist to eat bullets for, you know, your blood knights and stuff. But I think like if you somehow manage to not lose any of them before they get into combat, you can slightly get them above the like starting roster.
Yeah, for sure. And I always remember, back when I was in secondary school, I was on Daka and we tried to create a rule set for 40k crossed with like Left 4 Dead or COD Zombies. As a game mode with a rule book and everything. It took us months to try and draft something, but
I bet
it was awful. Well, don't ask. It was awful. In hindsight, it was horrendous. But the idea of like a unstoppable Horde faction that you can't really put down. I mean, that's what Necrons do, but Necrons did. But yeah, I just think it's an interesting place to take biological warfare, especially if the Tyranids are going to become a bigger thing. Maybe actually having these offspring mutations like Gene Stealer cults where you've got a symbiotic relationship could be just interesting. I don't know.
That'd be cool. Or like some sort of parasitic entity that feeds off the army they're facing.
Yeah, or even just feeds off the army that you're playing, where you can draft a much wider roster than everybody else. Where you can like say that, you remember looted wagons for orcs?
Oh yeah,
where you could literally convert them out of any tank you wanted, and then they actually made separate looted rules where you could have a looted tank, looted fortress, looted scout vehicle with different rules. Where depending on who you choose to co-opt, you could get different benefits. So it might be if you worked under Eldar possession, you gained weak psychic abilities. You worked with Tau, you gained leadership benefits, or like a small synergy with each other for the greater good. If you did it with Guard, then you gained sort of a command points bonus because they're following orders or something like that.
That would be something that a niche 40k is yet to fill in some extent. That would be really fun.
It probably belongs somewhere more like Kill Team or Necromunda rather than in the full game, but still.
Yeah, I imagine balancing an army based on that would be a nightmare of, here's 50 different armies theoretically in one.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, given the time, should we do some questions?
Unless you've got something particular you wanted to talk about book-wise.
I'm still making my way through Death of Integrity, so currently not at the moment.
Totally fair. I'm looking to start Death Welder, the Catacan novel, this weekend, and plough through that. So we'll do that. So, yeah, I've got last episode. Did you get a chance to do questions last episode?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you did. Just checking I didn't need to go back. So, there's not many, but I'll do what I can. How's it gone? Here we go. Speaking of adding new things, Remleiz, this is particularly for you, but it applies to us all. If you could add any new gang or faction to Necromunda, what would you add or create?
In terms of adding, do you mean like adding models, like adding actual new releases to it?
So I quote the question, add any new gang stroke faction.
Right.
Because Scalies is the obvious answer for me, but they already exist.
Yeah, but we haven't got an actual new tabletop models for Scavy, Scalies, or Ratskins. Give me new Ratskin models, please, because Ratskins are fucking awesome. New pit slaves, that would also be nice, like an actual new pit slave gang.
Yeah. But is there anything is there anything that never got models in Necromundan lore that's really interesting that you've never thought, oh, that would be really cool if they did that, but they never did?
One that comes to mind are Chrono Gladiators.
Right.
Chrono Gladiator is basically like it's like a gladiator who has like a timer built into their body, and they have to kill like a certain number of people in a certain number of minutes, and if they don't, they blow up. So that could be something interesting for like tabletop. Like they have to like take out at least one opposing gang member by like say turn 3, otherwise you take them out of action immediately, kind of thing.
That would be really interesting, like hired gun who's like obscenely powerful, but you're on a clock, kind of like like the dwarf Death Roller in Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious in and of itself.
My beloved.
I reckon that could work.
Yeah, I like that. I think it would be really cool to actually properly play with a Psyker faction. Like, I know Delac's a thing, but a proper Psyker faction that can really... I know Gene Stealers will probably do this too, but where everyone's a Psyker. Like, they don't have guns, they don't have melee weapons, everything is psychic. And no one knows how to deal with it. But they're extremely high risk because they don't really know what they're doing. So there's high risks of misfire or miscasts or just manifesting the wrong ability completely by mistake. Like, think about the old Weird Boy where you had to roll a d6 every turn for what power actually went off.
Yeah. I'll tell you what also could work. An inquisitorial retinue. Like, you have a real mixed match of units in the gang, and you can have like, try and find a specific objective or character to like try and apprehend or arrest or something like that. You can have like
I'm really actually amazed they haven't done that yet in either Kill Team or Necromunda.
Now, they've done one in Kill Team because they had the Inquisitorial faction there because they had the re-release of Sergeant Stone from the Inquisitor game. He was the Glam Warrior, the one with the spear. Do you not remember?
Oh, yep. Sorry, Ashes of Faith. Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah, the Inquisitorial agents. You had like Inquisitor and the Combat Servitor with a Heavy Bolter.
Yeah, I've got the article up now. Yeah, sorry, I'd completely forgotten.
What about you, Pank?
I think this would be kind of weird, but like an Administratum gang, because what I picture in my head is like it's a it would play like it's just buffs and what like stuff like that, just constant, like, or given orders, given buffs, given stuff like that, where if everything gets stacked well or something and it goes well, but if you do not perfectly, synchronize the units and like your hired flunkies and everything like that, your bean counter is gonna get, beamed in the head with a rock. I don't know why that.
The power of
That's
bureaucracy.
The first thing I go to. I don't know why bureaucracy is the first thing I think of, but I just think it'd be partially, kind of cool, seeing that mostly funny. Just it'd be like, like the hard mode Necromunda where it's like, yeah, you're an Administratum clerk who had to hire whoever and go figure out what the hell's even going on down there. Good luck.
Yeah, or you could do it the other way and maybe play the same idea with like a rabble-rousing preacher, where you've got to keep whipping up the crowd. And if people start dying, then you're going to lose momentum. It's all about momentum. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Like you got to get that alpha strike in hard. Otherwise, the fervor's going to go as everyone notices their friends are dying all around them.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Right, next question.
Okay, here we go. So much Eldar lore is about how much of a threat Slaanesh is, how they need to protect their souls and can't use their powers or Slaanesh will get them. But where's the line how easy is it for an Eldar's soul to get nommed by Slaanesh before they die?
As long as they don't like interact with the warp, like go into the warp, they're really just fine. Like just hanging out in a craft world, right?
Yeah.
But like, for example, if a Farseer goes for an Eldritch Storm and overcooks it, are they going to get nommed?
That is, I read a passage, and for the life of me, I don't remember where, and I've never been able to find it again. But it was like that exact thing. Like it was an Eldar Farseer or Psyker who was like, well, I'm cooked. I'm going to die no matter what. Gloves are coming off. And like the whole planet got Eldritch Stormed. But, give it 5 seconds. And, everyone on that planet was, lightning to death. But then pretty much immediately Slaanesh, grabbed him. So, but I think it's like as long as you're not actively communing with the warp or entering it, they're really just kind of just hanging out.
I remember one thing from 2nd edition. This is after, like, an Eldar dies or whatever, but there was, like, a passage detailing, like, how sometimes they would transfer, like, from the Infinity Circuit into a Spirit Stone for, like, Wraiths or whatever, and sometimes without warning, like, a Spirit being transferred into the Spirit Stone will just randomly just dissipate into the warp. And it's implied that Slaanesh basically grabbed it.
That's not fun.
Yeah, I guess, it also depends on if, for whatever reason, Slaanesh or a Slaanesh demon is interested particularly in, like, looking at that Eldar. Like, if there's one nearby, it's like, well, better hope that Spirit Stone's real fast acting, because otherwise you're in trouble.
Slaanesh is going, like, that one looks like a snack.
that one looks particularly tasty.
Yeah, is there... I know this is going to sound really uneducated, but if Slaanesh is Slaanesh actually actively claiming the Eldar souls, or passively? Because there is an argument potentially that Slaanesh could miss one. Or is it passive, like absorption of just the, I'm here, all your souls belong to me now, but how? Does Slaanesh actively yank and eat the soul? Or is there just sort of a passive, like, cookie clicker farming system for Eldar souls? Because logically, if Slaanesh is actively grabbing souls, then it can miss. And therefore you'd have random Eldar souls floating around the warp until Slaanesh noticed.
I think it's a passive thing. Like I think it's actually in one of the Inari books. Like they have that whisper that keeps them like together, which is why Inari don't necessarily need soul stones.
Yeah, it's that ritual that Ivrain does. Like she like psychically, well, like what's the term? It's like soul binding with new Inari, and they're like, okay, you're now bonded with what's his name? Iniad. So therefore your soul now belongs to Iniad, and Slaanesh can't get to it now. Hooray!
Mm-hmm. I think if I remember correctly, it's the Eldar Empire before the fall used to have that, and then Slaanesh basically hijacked it. So now that's why when they die, it's like, well, you just come to me.
Which is why Drukhari always have to inflict pain on everyone. It's like, no, eat that instead. Get off my soul.
Yeah, they're the ones like they are like slowly but surely they're actively like draining away because she's got that just hold on them inherently.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because that was one of the things that I never actually ever thought to ask. Like, I just knew all our souls went to Slaanesh, but I never worked out why. Well, I knew why, but I didn't know the mechanism, whether it was active or passive. Like, that soul binding thing, I think I'd heard of, but certainly not enough detail. I don't read enough Eldar lore because I just hate them. Whatever. Okay, moving on.
Fair enough.
Oh, it's the same as, like, I don't read Space Wars. Same thing.
Oh, I respect it.
I'm a Magnus stan. What can you say? Right, okay. Speaking of warp entities and missing things, if blanks are invisible to most warp entities, are they also invisible to the Tyranid brood and or hive mind?
I don't think so, considering that the brood mind literally looks out the eyes of every single Nid at once. So I can literally just see them. It's like, I can see you with my eyes.
Yeah, it's not like demons who only have soul vision. Like, the Tyranids have physical
Nids are actually
vision.
creatures of the material universe, so basically, I can literally see you. Unless it's a Tyrant God, in which case they don't actually have eyes.
I think there's like some evidence like blanks can disrupt the hive mind. Like I think that's a minor plot point in some of the Caiaphas Cain novels.
It, yeah, but disrupting is not the same as being invisible to it.
Yeah, the angry bug, you've disconnected it from the hive mind, sure. It's still an angry bug with a vested interest in eating you.
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember instinctive behavior?
Oh, yeah. That was great, that rule.
Yeah, like for the young and uninitiated, and I can't believe saying for the young because I'm still not 30, but whatever. There was a rule that Tyranids had until like 7th or 8th where synapse creatures wasn't just, oh, hey, you get buffs if you're within synapse range. Oh, no. If you were outside of synapse range and you failed a leadership check, and your leadership was awful, by the way, on Gaunts, your Tyranids would literally either run away and run for cover to hide, or they would rush forward at the nearest thing to eat. And it made Tyranids really hard to control if you picked off their synapse creatures, because it meant that their whole army would just start hiding or charging without any control whatsoever. It was kind of like if you kill vampires in a Vampire Count's army where the army just starts falling apart. Or demons, same thing. It was cool.
But don't want to be a blank in front of Tyranids anyway. You don't want to be anyone in front of Tyranids. I'm good on that.
Agreed. Right. For Rem and myself, who would be your dream Quizcastus invite?
How many people do we get to invite? Just one?
I'm going to say 2.
2. Samoa Joe and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, Joe is top of my list because he knows so much. He would be an actually really fun opponent.
He really would.
Beyond that, I feel like in terms of the YouTube community, there's obviously we've worked with so many people, and there's few that we've missed or that we've reached out to and not heard back from, or who just missed our memo or just were busy or whatever. So I'm not saying, if we haven't worked with them, then we don't want to, because hello, we have a new guest today. But it's just interesting that you think about how many different YouTubers are out there. And while there are some who will not be on this show for whatever reason, either they've said no or we've said no, or it just won't work time-wise, whatever, then it's still really interesting and think, well, of those we haven't already worked with, who would we get? But we tried to get Markiplier for 200, for the record. We tried. We tried.
We tried.
He was busy. He was busy. And I don't think he'd have done very well either, for the record. But either way, yeah, Joe is top of my list. If he was still here, Total Biscuit. Though actually, since we're on about that group of people, Krendor.
Oh, he's into Warhammer?
Yeah, he plays Age of Sigmar a lot.
Oh, didn't know that.
He has a separate Warhammer channel.
I did not know that.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll right, give me 2 seconds. Yeah, I'm subscribed to him. It's Warhammer Krendor.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, he does all about Age of Sigmar. That's all he does on that channel. It's just AOS. But he's done bat reps, getting started articles, reviews, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, Krendor would be really cool for an AOS edition. He would be pretty much useless on the 40k one. But but he also, I remember I got into Krendor's content once I'd seen Total Biscuit, getting him on co-optional and things like that, was through his Blood Bowl League, whatever the name was given to the Krendorian Blood Bowl League. So I know he's into his fantasy. So he'd be really cool for an AOS one, along with someone like Sotek. And maybe, oh god, what if at 250 I did an AOS Quidcastus and we see how good you really are, Remleiz? That could be funny.
Yeah, I know jack shit about AOS, so
yes. Back in your box, dinosaur.
I freely admit that. I freely admit I'm shit at AOS.
Yeah, but that could be a really fun little thing of the two of us running made in colour commentary, and we've got the Sotek and Pank and Krendor and who's the other one who I've loved shit talking about AOS with loads? Who's the other one? And someone else who we've talked about Age of Sigmar ad nauseum with, and I've forgotten who it was now. Because we have that many different people that we've worked with. 2 seconds. Oh no, mine only goes up to 150 on the playlist on my channel. Was it Oculus? No, it wasn't Oculus.
I think Oculus does do AOS though.
Yeah, it might have been Oculus or Kirioth or something like that. I can't remember who it was.
It might have been Kirioth because they collect Gargans, don't they?
They've got a massive amount of Eldritch horror shit going on with their armies in AOS. Yeah, loads of it.
Fair enough. Right, any other questions?
Yeah, one more. This one's a little bit outside the law, inside the business. So, actually, it's interesting because you said yourself earlier, apparently, you play BattleTech.
Oh, yeah.
So, this question asks, and I'm going to read it verbatim. How close do you think GW may be to a quote-unquote tipping point where they start losing more players than they can bring in due to price rises, stock issues, and competition from BattleTech, Mantic, MIDI Wargaming's Ravage Star, among other things?
Do you mind if I speak on this a bit? Because I've talked to some others.
You've got more experience with the wider market, I think, than we do, because neither of us play outside of GW.
I genuinely don't think like GW's tipping point, at least anytime soon, would come from an outside source. Because I feel like when you get someone into tabletop gaming, Warhammer is the titan. Like it's GW's like brand is so all encompassing that there's I don't think it's physically possible to get into tabletop gaming and not hear about Warhammer. It's like someone will bring it up.
Yeah, but could you make the argument of them being priced out?
That is probably like they can't. I mean, it's been like what 2 price hikes I think now in 3 years or something.
At least
they can't like that can't be forever sustainable. They're going to hit a point eventually where someone looks at the hobby and like, yeah, I'd like to get into this, and then they go, oh, that's $60 for five models.
Yeah, that's me with TCGs like Yu-Gi-Oh. It's just too expensive.
Yeah, and like it's at the moment, I don't know if either of you heard of Mantic Games.
Oh yeah, I know Mantic.
They that Kings of War. I mean, I would have to double check the kit, but I think some of those like boxes, like the big boxes they have, are like $160. You get 120 models. Like that is, and you compare that to just depending on some of the armies. Like there's internal like rules balancing reasons, right? Like why some combat patrols like Tyranids have like 40, some like Reynaids have 11, right?
Yeah.
But for someone wanting to get into the hobby, they're going to look at it and go, I'm spending $170. I'm getting 10 pieces of plastic. Like
yeah, because
I don't think it's.
Because I was looking at Mantic's Dead Zone starter sets. You get
Dead Zone looks really cool.
You get like 22 miniatures plus a whole set of plastic terrain and a gaming mat and all the other trimmings. And it's like £95.
Which, for the context, is about the price of Scabentide, which does come with 2 armies and terrain and the rulebook, but that's only because it's a starter box.
Ooh. Yeah, I would say. Within like 10 years, if they keep upping these price hikes, there's going to be issues where like the profit surge is going to fall off. Like they.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh no! I was like, it's not sustainable. Looking at it is like it keeps going up and up and up. At a certain point, I think the company needs to realize if you want this mass market appeal, they clearly want. They can't keep upping the price hikes because most people like the Warhammer TV show. I'm sure, if God only knows what's happening with that, but when it comes out, I'm sure there's going to be a surge of people who want to look at the game, and then they're going to look at the prices and go, oh, I'm not doing that. It's just not worth it. Whereas that's when the other companies come in.
But by the same token, and I'm just going to throw this out there, the Fallout TV show, which has been a smash hit. Let's be clear. I don't know, but it will have driven sales of Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 76, but then you've got like Fallout Wasteland Warfare, which is an actual miniatures game. They have a tabletop game for Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 as well. And I don't know. The challenge with toppling Warhammer, and I'm not ever saying I want this to happen, is no other game, maybe with the possible exception of Kings of War, does grand scale like Warhammer does.
No.
Like Dead Zone, that's a skirmish game, like Necromunda, Kill Team, Warcry. Speed Dreadball, that's just Blood Bowl on crack. BattleTech. It's like Titanicus on crack. There's nothing, with the possible exception of Kings of War, and I don't really know Kings of War very well, that can do the grand scale like 40k can. There is no other game where you can go, yeah, that's my army. It took me 5 years and $250,000 to make. But no one will ever be able... I could put this all on one table. I'll play an entire weekend and I do not care. No other game can do that.
No.
I'd make a possible exception, maybe Firefight.
I don't know Firefight. Okay, yeah, I see that point. Yep, see that point taken. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you are right there. I don't know. It just... Replacing Warhammer, or Warhammer declining, and let's be fair here, Warhammer reaching a tipping point of it's too expensive or there is other competition, that's not a bad thing. Like, we're talking about all this, we as Warhammer people, I want more competition. I've always thought of, should I have a look at, what was the one, not BattleTech, the other mecha battle one, War Machine, Warhammer Hordes, that was it.
Yeah,
Warhammer Hordes. Like, that one as well. All these other games, I'm like, that's really cool. But no one will ever play it because everyone's playing Warhammer. Like, the monopoly that Games Workshop has should not last forever. We don't want to be in a situation where they're like, dare I say it, Disney, who just hoover up everything within the market and stop anyone doing anything because it's all they have is all subsumed in them. We don't want that. We want competition. And we want there to be more options. But you've also got to consider, like, what is it going to take for that to happen? Because for there to be a gap in the market for competition to rise up, GW's got to falter. And if GW's going to falter, how are they going to do that? Either pricing people out, the Warhammer TV show bombs, and so they get a negative rep and people just slightly slink away. Or, I don't know. What's it going to take?
I would honestly say, like, it's probably going to be pricing, because I think, like, the thing with the TV show and how it's, like, a bit different from, like, the Fallout tabletop game is Fallout, right? It's a video game series. Like, it's known, you know, the Fallout games, you know, 1, 2, 3, New Vegas.
Yeah, I own half of them.
Oh, yeah. Great games. Don't get me wrong. But and as much as, like, the, you know, the minis are cool and it's probably fun, it's like, that's not what Fallout is in the...
No, true.
Yeah, whereas, like, Warhammer, if the TV show is a complete flop, I don't think most people on the tabletop side of things would mind too much, right? Because, you know, they still have the fun game to play.
This is true.
I think, and I'm not a financial expert, I'm not going to say, like, this price point will be too much, but at a certain point, especially, you know, depending on, like, just real-world economy stuff,
yeah,
it is going to hit a point where it's like, I can't justify spending it on this. Or it does. I'm
already there.
Yeah, I mean, and it does absolutely, like, have that magic you were saying, like, where it's like, this is like the mass scale, you know, Warhammer tabletop game. But at a certain point, like, you're just going to make the decision, I guess I'm just not getting into, like, this big scale tabletop gaming. I'll do something like BattleTech, where I get it.
That's what Games Workshop's done that's very clever, is they've cornered every single other niche of their competition. Titanicus, Necromunda, Warcry, Heresy to cover historical, Old World. They've covered everything. Or they've tried to, anyway. Skirmish games, grand scale, epic scale, fantasy, sci-fi. They've tried to do everything because they've got all these different game modes. Shadespire as well for competitive speed play and little tiny warbands.
Yeah.
And hex-based. They've tried to cover off everything. And that, again, just constricts the view of people like, oh, I don't like this grand scale. I want to play skirmish. Oh, well, don't we have a game for you?
Yeah.
And they do. There is nothing you can do that Games Workshop doesn't have a game for.
It's like, the only thing I can think of is at some point, like, it's just going to be too much where they're going to just look for alternatives.
It already is.
Yeah. It's easily, like, it's there. I don't think it's at a tipping point yet, but one more price, like, maybe I shouldn't give solid numbers like that, but depending on what they do, one more, if it's bad enough, price increases is going to tip this. I think right now, like, the scale is even, as it were, right? If they keep upping the cost, I think it's going to tip in the other direction, and maybe it won't be a flood, But there's going to be a whole lot of people, newcomers and veterans alike, who just can't keep up with the costs that are going to start looking at other stuff.
Yeah, I think the other reason that could really do an issue is if they do what they did to Sigmar, which is they binned half the Stormcast range. Because the one thing that GW has done very cleverly is they don't retire models much. So, like, if you haven't bought a model since 2018, you can still play the game. Like, you'll suck, you'll lose, but you'll at least be able to play the game because the models are still there. But if they keep retiring stuff and saying these old models are no longer valid, even if we release replacements and updates, you can still use the old ones. But if they full on start retiring stuff, that's what will drive people away. Because the grizzled old veterans will go, I don't want to buy the new models, but I want to play the game. Can use their old ones without issue. So, I don't know. I think there's also a tipping point is there's financial and there's visible. Like, them making a loss is different to people leaving the hobby.
Yeah, that's something, that even if they're still making money, if enough people, like, online make a stink about it, that can also be, like, they look at it as, like, that's people flooding out, right?
But will they care when the bottom line's that good?
That's the question for GW, isn't it? They seem to... Pricing is not their... They have little mercy on that front.
Well, in their very slight defense, they are stuck behind some extremely restrictive trade laws thanks to politics stuff. Plus, there's a bunch of other politics stuff that means that goods and services are extremely expensive to import and export into and out of the UK, which is not helping.
No, that's... Yeah.
But yes, I'm not going there.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, given the time, we should call it there for this episode. So, thank you very much to everyone who tuned in for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. And thank you very much to PancreasNoWork for joining us this episode.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me on. It was a good time.
It's been a blast.
Have fun. You're welcome. So, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Remleiz from 40k Theories.
This has been Neve from Tactica Imperialis.
And I'm PancreasNoWork from Colin. Wow, I messed that up.
Tish.
That was not on purpose.
We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.